Focus.
One.
Positive attitude.
We're live, fellas.
How's
How's it going? What's up, Land Geek guys?
What's up, fellas?
What's up, Land Geek Nation? Land Geek Nation, tuning in.
Cheers to the nation.
Well, what kind of kind of drink? I was going to throw in an adjective there, and it's probably not appropriate. So,
recent revelation: a little bit of scotch and then an espresso martini, and I sleep like a baby. So
wow.
it's a nightly regimen. Cheers.
Oh, another regimen from Zano. Yeah, he's never had one of those before.
Nope, not at all. Sounds like that'll go really well. As thank you on behalf.
No regimens or rituals from this guy.
Good segue into tonight's episode.
That was kind of a quick segue. Mike, tell the people who we are. Come on.
Land Geek guys. So the three of us get on here every week and talk land investing. Listen, we may have a few drinks. We certainly have fun, but there's content here. And, years ago, I can say that now, years ago, because it was years ago, we realized, oh, I got a big echo here. What's going on? It's gone. We realized that there are people that burn the midnight oil and they need a little inspiration, so we'll come on here and we'll talk land investing. No topic won't be covered. We'll uncover all topics. Tonight, though, the segue, because you're making fun of the fact that I have multiple dietary regimens. I get it. But it's called tonight's, Matt, do you know tonight we're talking about shiny object syndrome?
I did not know that, and I love shiny things. I'm like a 4-year-old dog.
I was going to say kitten. But
I'm a big fan of backpacks and notebooks and
fanny packs.
And
fanny pack thing?
I'm wearing my fanny pack tonight's show.
Yeah, let's get that on you.
Yeah, it's the fanny pack has made its way back. It's
I'll wear it Kanye West style.
Now, I could be wrong, but I think if Kanye West is wearing a 1980s fanny pack, that just solidifies the fact that I will never wear one ever.
Zeno, Kanye wears it around his neck, and he kind of wears. He's like a dog walking around with a barrel.
I know. I'm going to improve his version.
But you are wearing it in the way which my wife said was acceptable, and she knows her fashion. The fanny pack has been back for a good year or so, and if you wear it as a bag around the shoulder and under the armpit. Is fashionably, that is acceptable.
That's going to be a no-go, Jer. That's me. I'm sorry. Are you wearing a tack in your glasses?
What is that?
What is happening?
What? I noticed that too. What happened to the Star Wars glasses?
These I can put those on, but I did a quick repair on my glasses today at the fire station. I do have the Star Wars, but I like the tack.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right.
I like the tag too.
With that logic right there.
But,
hey, let's say hi to everybody. We got some watches. All right.
Okay. Who we got?
Barbara Kowalewski is here. Austin Minter. My mother is watching. Pamela.
Oh, wait, can
Hi,
we
Mom.
Just go back to Scott's mom? What's
My
up,
son is watching. I got half the viewing audience here. My son is watching. Ben Bossman, Jen Ramquist, and Tom Conway are watching.
Nice. It's a crew.
Well, they're going to hear all about shiny object syndrome.
Okay.
Right. And how it pertains to not only Mike Zano's life, but the land business.
Definitely.
2.5 hour
drive.
Am I on there, man? You get your 6 3.5 out of the way so they can see your brother-in-law here.
This is my brother-in-law,
Hi.
Jeff. He's
Hi.
a land
Jeff,
geek.
welcome to the show.
Hi, Jeff.
Sort of, yeah.
We're
getting there.
There you go.
Thanks
Jeff,
Jeff.
welcome to the
Thanks
show.
to the tutelage here. We've
Jeff,
got 3-hour drive ahead of us, so no nightcap for us, unfortunately.
Listen in the car.
I'm feeling way too sober to stay here, so...
No drinking for you, Jeff. Nice meeting you.
Thanks for saying
You
hi.
guys.
Later, dude. See you, Scott.
See ya. Well,
I like it. New segment, random visitors on the nightcap. It's a new segment.
That's a first, right?
I love it.
Of course, Jeffrey did.
You better explain who we are and what we do there, big guy.
So, listen, tonight we're going to talk about something that's really important. It's the shiny object syndrome and the antidote. Is that the right way to say it, Scott? The antidote?
I like that word.
There's two things that move this business, and there's a lot of things that'll detract you from it.
Including one of them is alcohol. That will detract you.
Number one is slurring our words. Number one.
I did that on purpose, Matt, for...
Oh, boy. The creator's watching.
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, Mark, I have something to say right now. I have a little bit of a bad rap in the community for being the inebriated one all the time, and that's just not the case tonight. So,
no. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike,
as I've stated in other roundtable podcasts, I get a little jealous when Scott's referred to as the OG, because that's a pretty cool term.
The Nightcap OG.
Cap OG. Yeah.
Nightcap Master.
Well, listen, it pales in comparison to the Zen Master.
Well, I would say Mark probably initially, as he's coming on, approves of the backpack-wearing Kanye style. I know that's the case.
I'm going to go with no, he doesn't. About that.
Mark was initially on my side with the whole fanny pack subject, but he did kind of step back from it. I do feel like I was kind of left on an island by myself, but I'm gonna run with it.
So, Mark, what you're telling me is Mark was like, yeah, that's really, really cool. Wait, hold on. Let me think about that for 3 seconds. And peace. I'm out of here. I think I'm done with this. I like it.
Mark was open-minded, I think, till he talked to his wife, and he's like, yeah, I'm back, fellas. She said it's a definite no-go. But my wife, on the other hand, is like, yeah, it's totally back in as long as you wear it this way.
This way.
Mike, that's a hard no. Thanks. And for that reason, I'm out.
All right. Mark wants to know if we should give you another nickname then, Mike. I can't think of you in any other way as than the Zen Master.
No, I'm not saying that I don't love the Zen Master, but I'm not saying that it doesn't create jealousy when I hear Scott referred to as the OG. So it's kind of it's kind of.
Should we give Mark like another podcast?
It's good to be a little uncomfortable, Zano. It's good to be. Yeah.
It's okay.
So Mike, talk more about the shiny object syndrome. Talk to us, and for those of you who are watching, maybe throw some examples in there in the chat about how you've had shiny object syndrome in this business, what that means for you.
Well, there's multiple ways to look at the shiny object syndrome, right? But we're looking at specifically when people, they start the process, they might say, geez, should I get a website? Should I get an LLC? Should I do this? Should I do that? And they're all great questions, right? And some people may want to do things sooner than others, but we often tell people the truth, right? Deal flow solves everything. There's two things you need to do in this business is you need to mail and market, right? If you can control those two things, you're going to almost, can I say guarantee, Scott, Matt? Almost guarantee success if you focus on mailing and marketing. And then once you get this machine rolling, you got deal flow coming in, great. Let's look at a website. Maybe now is a good time to get an LLC, but it's very easy, right, to get side railed. There's a lot of different things that go around the business, right? But the what moves it? What brings the money, right? What brings the money? The mailing and the marketing. The M&Ms.
Yeah, the M&Ms, and I think it's easy for beginners to get distracted because we talk to a lot of people. They've listened to the podcast for months. They've listened to Mark and Scott. They know how successful Mark and Scott are. They've listened to the Roundtable podcast. They've listened to Mastermind Calls with Matt Forbes. There are people in this that are doing very well in the business, but guess what? They were beginners, and on day zero, they had to start with learning how to scrub a list. And I think a lot of people, they get into this and they get the toolkit. I'll talk to people, they've just gotten the toolkit and they're like, how do I automate? I'm like, well, you can't automate yet. You need to you need to learn the processes in this business. You need to learn the simplest thing or the most mundane thing, if you see it that way. And that's how to scrub a list. You can't even think about automation. You can't even think about delegation before you take on these mundane tasks in your business and learn them upside down, forward, and backward. And then you consider automating later. But this automation that we talk about, it just doesn't happen overnight. The delegation we talk about doesn't happen overnight. What happens overnight is the mailing. You can get the toolkit and mail in days. You can't get the toolkit and automate in days.
Right. And you know what? We talk about mailing. Any list is a good list. I mean, mailing, the people that do really well in the beginning just embrace the fact that I'm just going to get some letters out there. And if you do it the way Scott Todd teaches, 20 a day, 100 a week, even if your numbers are wrong, you will naturally adjust them because what does he always say? The market is speaking to you, right? Did you get too many offers back? Great, you offered too much money. Is nobody talking to you? Great, you offered too low. And this is part of the mailing. So we're talking about that one part, right? The mailing and the marketing, right? To fix that. So the mailing, how does it fix it? Well, it really, in kind of I guess, in more of an in-depth view at it, it's going to let you, in terms of deal flow, it's the pricing, right? You're mailing, and 20 a day is going to allow you to adjust to the market, which is going to allow you to dial into that right purchase price, right? So first and foremost, you have to get a property, right? And how do you escape, I got to have landitis? We talked about that, right? Remember the word of the day on the old Matt loves my black whiteboard?
We do love your black whiteboard, yes.
Where's that thing?
It's right there.
Bust that out, man. Come on, baby. It looks very white today.
I got to have landitis. Really, that is totally kind of created by the fact of inefficient mailing or lack of consistent mailing. It's like, hey, let me send out a couple of mailings here, a couple of mailings there. Let me have one or two potential deals and then feel the need to close on one of them and potentially overpay. How do you resolve that? Mailing. You mail consistently. You have a stack of potential deals that you can sift through and pick out one that's really going to make you the most money. So, this whole shiny object syndrome, but again, mailing and marketing, dealing into the one side. Let's talk about the mailing, Scott. Let's talk a little bit about the mailing. Your take, mailing, and Matt.
All right. So, and I posted a question that I think will help people if they think about this and they answer it. But and we can talk about this as well. But what are shiny objects in this business that detract people, especially beginners? And I think we can get to that, right? But the whole mailing thing it's going to happen if you consistently mail. You have to be disciplined in mailing, like you said. That's when it's going to happen. The consistent deal flow is going to show up. You're going to be able to purchase land, no question. And an occasional gold nugget is going to show up, which could really move things forward for you. So it really is the simplicity of, to me it's this, the simplicity of mailing is mailing consistently. That's just it. You need to mail consistently. That's it.
Matt, what do you think? Mailing. We're talking about shiny object syndrome, the antidote, mailing and marketing. Now we're talking mailing, and I mean, it could be argued that's the backbone of the business, right?
If you want it to be, yeah. I mean, I think when you're new, the shiny object syndrome is when you're new, you don't end up mailing, right? Yes. You just don't do it, right? You're like, well, you know what? Maybe I will go flip that house, or I will go try wholesaling, or I'll just listen to the podcast, or I'll go do it. It's more indecisiveness, right? I never experienced this because I just took Scott Todd's word for it. That like if you mail, you'll buy property, and I mailed and I bought property. But I think there's a ton of people out there who think you can't go buy property. I never had that problem, but you guys talk about it so much. I think there are people out there who really don't believe that you can go send 200 letters and get 4 or 5 accepted offers back with some counters in there, and that there's probably 2 gray properties in that mailer if your pricing's right. So you just go do it.
What about this, Matt? What about part of the shiny object syndrome is, hey, I'm going to create my own offer letter. I'm gonna make one that blows everybody away.
I don't
This is
understand.
real. You know this is real. You know this happens.
Sure. You want to know why I know it's real? I got a whole trash can full of those freaking offers. Right? There's one. Got that one today. Like, no, I'm not. No. Number one, I'm a business. Don't send me a letter. Number two, I sold this property 9 years ago. I sold this property last year. Number three, I'm not going to sell it to you for $1,000. Come on, baby. I sold that thing for like $4,000. Get the hell out of here. So, yeah, I don't know. I come on.
You know what I mean, though, Matt? People want to be like, okay, the toolkit has a short form, a long form, but what about I want to spice it up. I want to add a whole bunch of, really cool things to it. Tell a story.
I don't understand people. I don't. If you're that person, from me to you, I don't understand you. There is a guy, and it works, and he's willing to tell you how to do it, right? And then there's like 200 followers, and they all do it, and it works. Why are you reinventing the wheel? The wheel is round. It goes. You're not going to make it better. You don't even know the industry. What are the chances that someone who doesn't know this business comes up with a better offer letter? I mean, just think about that for a second. You don't even know what you're talking about. So there's no way. Now, if you've been doing it a long time and you say, hey, I want to tweak the offer letter, great, rock and roll, go ahead. Right? But I don't think it's going to make a difference. I use the exact standard offer letter that comes right out of LG Pass. But I think that's what people try to do, right? To Eric Peterson's point, right? He had a killer website in the beginning. They spent a lot of time on because he's a website designer, right? And it's like, where would you rather spend your time? Doing the uncomfortable thing you're not sure about, or doing the comfortable thing that you're good at, right? You gotta just go do it. Don't reinvent the wheel. Like the offer letter. The offer letter is actually a great example, right? It works. What are we doing here?
It's done for you. It's done for you.
Yeah.
Money loves speed.
Yeah.
Right? It's done for you.
It's not
proven.
the thing. It's not the investment of time that's going to move the needle. Guaranteed. Trying to reinvent Mark's wheel? Like, are we kidding? Are you nuts? It's been doing it 15 freaking years, right? It's not like he does one thing and he tells us to do something else. Like, it's his thing, right? Just go do what he says and it works. Like, it's not rocket science, right? Spend your time mailing, spend your time marketing, spend your time, once you know how to do something, getting it outsourced to a VA or a piece of technology. Spend your time getting yourself out of the business. Don't spend your time reinventing an offer letter that's going to yield you, and I'm not kidding, only worse results. Like, why? Now I'm angry. What have you done?
You are angry. You went on a
I was
rant
fine coming into this call. Everything was just fine.
It's almost as bad. It's almost as bad as Mark's rant at boot camp about having a land buying website.
I'm happy to report I missed that. That was clearly not in the VIP room.
Here's another shiny object syndrome. Zeno, you love this object. I'm just saying. All right.
Alcohol? Oh.
The CRM.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, and sometimes I think, let's clarify. LG Pass deal flow, monitoring offer letters going out, deals coming in, simplifying the creation of paperwork, invaluable.
Sure.
The what we're talking about now is potential buyers, right? And CRM. So yes, I have been known to be a CRM junkie. It's probably why I love notebooks and backpacks, because it's organizing things, It happens, right? I think that the good thing about it is you can export contacts just like on any kind of. Listen, there's MailChimp, there's ConvertKit, there's give me a couple others. There's
neither of those are CRMs.
No, I know, but I'm talking about buyers list mailing. I'm saying there's a number of options. You can always change as you go, but the biggest important factor in the beginning is to actually have one and use it, right? To organize. If John Smith is like, I want to buy that, but I need you to call me back in a week. You want to make sure in a week he gets a call back, right? I mean, this is important stuff.
Yeah. How many CRMs have you used, Dana?
No less than 6.
Oh my God.
But I have settled in on one that soon will be, there'll be some nice courses on. I love it. I don't want to say anything else. I'm not teaching the courses, but I know that this is something that a lot of really successful land geeks are using. It's awesome. I love it.
Here's the thing, though. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking with CRMs. Every single day in the Land Geek group, you see something about this CRM and this CRM and this CRM, and then when you do a Google search on one CRM, then your Facebook feed is blowing up, and your Google ad feed is blowing up with 10 other different CRMs. It detracts what you should be doing in the beginning, which is mailing, and we have a great tool to help you remain organized when you're first starting out with this, and that's LG Pass. As far as some of this other stuff goes, I wouldn't spend money. As a beginner, there are free tools out there like Google Drive or Matt Forbes' favorite Airtable.
Right side. We're talking left and right side of the equation here. We're talking left side, although I would try to change that. The LG Pass does drift into the right side because it makes us sell the paperwork. It makes Indeed. But we're talking just so everybody out there is listening. We're talking. When we talked about the CRMs that I'm jumping from, we're talking about buyers lists, maintaining that type of stuff. So you're right, though. The LG Pass, especially now with some of the new functionality, 20 a day, the dripping.
That's sweet.
Yeah, what do you think of that, Matt? Talk about that a little bit.
It's just a huge time saver. Like, I was notorious for not mailing. Like, I'd go like 6 weeks without a mailer and be like, oh, go mail 1,000.
So how's this 20 a day thing help me? How does that help me? I'm a guy that wants to mail. What's it do?
I still do the same 1,000. I just don't have a huge influx of, accepted offers and then nothing, right? It's smoothed out the business because I'm doing it the way that, shockingly, Scott told me to, which is...
I know. It is shocking, right? It is shocking. I know. I feel the same way.
Mind-blowing that if I just do it the way Scott told me to do it.
Can I say the quote? Because Scott Todd might be listening, and I love this quote because the one time he said, you call me a horse. Even a fly could travel 1,000 miles on a horse's tail. He's like, you call me a horse? No, I'm calling you a stallion. That's the difference. Not a horse, a stallion. What it means is that there's success, and if you attach yourself to people who are successful, you surround yourself with people who are successful, you actually increase your odds of being, go figure, successful.
Successful. Yeah, that new feature though is killer, right? That was something that I think was, it was much needed for LG Pass for guys like me, right? Where I never outsourced it because I screwed up so many times in LG Pass, actually doing the mailing with my spreadsheet, that I never really wanted to give it to a VA. And now I kind of don't have to. I think I will, eventually, but now I don't have to because I can just load. Like, I will scrub 1,000, 2,000 people on a list all at the same time. And so once it's done, it's done. So, I mean, if I can do that once every 8 weeks, I can do that.
In the beginning, though, to play devil's advocate, it's good to, Matt Forbes, you've been doing this a while now. You know your market, right? When you don't necessarily know your market or you're not confident in that market, it's a good idea to send the 20 a day a little bit more systematically. I wouldn't load up 2,000 mailers in LG Pass and click go without analyzing the data a couple weeks down the road to make sure my pricing's right?
No. That's not the beginner move.
Right. The beginner move is to be methodical and mathematical about it. Like, Zeno, what's what?
I love this. You just said the price is right. Like, we could have a whole new episode here where we have, how much would you bid on this land? Like, we could have like 3 different pieces of land. I bid 10,000 on that whole package. This is a great little segment you just brought up there.
Wholesale.
The price is right.
Wholesale Shark Tank. I like that.
Somebody comes on and like we argue about it. One of us buys it right there for real.
Whoa, even
Shark
better. That's up.
land.
That's now you're stepping up on what I just said. That's incredible.
Yes.
We should do that.
Should do that.
I still think we should have now the viewing audience, all 5,000 of you, could weigh in on this.
7 of you. Are there any
wholesale deal of the week? We let people come on. We do a we do a little lottery. We pull a name out of a hat. They come on. They present their wholesale deal to the group. I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We do have a comment. This actually is timely regarding our current discussion. This is from Casey Jewett, longtime listener, third-time caller. Love it.
I love that.
If you send Casey, this goes right in line with what we were just talking about. If you send about 1,000 mailers and you only get hate calls and hate responses, is your offer too low? I would say likely. But the other thing, what we were just talking about, is that, unless you really, really, really know your market and you've done multiple deals in that area, I don't know if I would send 1,000 mailers out. I would continue with the 20 a day. I would make sure to utilize the data that I'm getting from those mailers. If I send out 100 this week, what happens to those 100 mailers 3 weeks from now? Am I getting responses? Am I getting hate mail? Am I getting too many responses? And then tweak your offer from there. Or maybe change up your pricing a little bit if you aren't exactly sure about the market. Do one price this week for 100. Do one price next week for the 100. That type of thing. So I would say if you did send out 1,000 mailers and all you're getting is hate calls, it probably is too low.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, the real issue is that we're assuming you sent out 1,000, right? And we're assuming that you got all hate mail, or we know you got all hate mail, right? And so the real issue is that you sent out 1,000, if that's really the case, right? Because you don't need to send out 1,000 to figure it out. You can send out a lot less to start to get to know your market, the way Scott's talking about. So if you did that, like, okay, Scott Todd, let the market talk to you and know that your offer is too low, and then book a call with Scott Bosman and he'll fix it for you. That's my
right. Nice. Well, hopefully that, Casey, what I would do is, I guess here's some advice. Try to analyze the comps in a little bit more detail, be a little bit more surgical in your market analysis, and remail that area in 90 days at an adjusted price, and see what happens.
Oh, he wrote back and said part of the mailers went to land with a home on them as well, so clearly we're an oopsie. Look, that's the other thing you could have done is you could have made your spreadsheet all janky,
right?
Which can happen, right? I mean, I did that. Right, maybe you sent out a mailer with no offers. Right, still bought property. I sent one out with it was I was buying 5 acres for $492, and then instead of 21 cents, it was 0.2194837 times the square root of pi. The number I was buying was
definitely getting people's attention.
Yes,
this looks a lot of money, a lot of pennies.
The woman. So what I kept getting what I kept getting back from people was I still bought. By the way, I still bought my 1%, right? But I got a whole bunch more of people who were like, "Yeah, is that where you wanted to put that decimal place? Are you offering me $47,000 for my property?" No, it's $453.81. Well, you know what? Rounded, it's 82 cents. Okay. Oh no. Okay. Have a nice day. Click. So those things happen.
Well, you guys are really touching upon a good idea here. The fact that we had a podcast, we talked about what would you do different in the beginning, hyper-focus on one area. So I think that ties into this as well, right? Getting the pricing down tight because you're in one area and you're constantly refining what you know about that area and refining your pricing, right?
Yeah. Yes, for sure. And here's
smiley.
It just brought to mind another shiny object.
Ooh.
Okay. how many of us, when we start this business, we're intimidated by the fact that there are other land investors in the county, and we think it's going to be a great idea to go to this county over here where there's a lot of vacant land and no land investors.
Well, the land investors are there for a reason. It's an active market, and you really need to make sure you insert yourself in an active market.
Because what can happen in an active market? You can do wholesale deals there when you're first starting out.
It's a full backup plan. It's a baked-in backup plan. You're nuts if you go to a market where you don't see any other land geeker in, because then they're not going to take the risk to go discover that market, right? You're betting that you know something they don't. Sure you want to take that bet? I don't, right? I want to be able to wholesale that property. Like I bought my first property way too high. Like I bought it at almost the wholesale price. So when I tried to sell it, like it didn't work and I couldn't sell it and, it was not working. But then when I wholesaled it, I made a little bit of money. Not a lot, right? I made $1,000, but I dumped it in 5 minutes of just talking to the right person. So, yeah, that's a good shiny object thing. Again, that's like people trying to beat the system.
Right.
It's all goes back to the chocolate chip cookie recipe thing that.
Don't bring up cookies.
Is it bake? Is it cake? Is it cookies? It's been a while since flight school.
I'm hungry now, Matt. Why would you do that?
So these super good Duncan Hines cookie muffin product. No, I made pancakes tonight for dinner for my kids. You know what I did? This is crazy. You ready? I looked at the Bisquick box. It said put 2 cups of Bisquick in. You know what I did?
3.
I put in 4 because I'm awesome. But I made a double batch. But I followed the recipe. You know how they tasted? They were great. Right?
You did not detract.
Come on.
The shiny objects make us detract. Don't detract. We got this figured out.
Yeah, that's what's so cool, right? I mean, this isn't Mark 15 years ago, right? Having 86 different spreadsheets trying to figure out how to do something. It's all been done. Look it up on the Facebook group. The question you have has already been answered. Asked and answered, Your Honor.
Nice. Any other comments out there? What other shiny objects detract us from the recipe? Oh, well, go ahead, Zano.
No, you got it.
I got to get one. Go.
No.
We all got one. We may all have the same one. We may have just come to a synchronistic moment. So we'll start with Bosman.
Do you want to say it on the count of 3?
Yeah, count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Website.
Success. All right, what'd you say?
All right, I was LLC or S Corp. Bosman, what were you?
Website.
God, what a waste of time. What was yours?
Other people's success.
Oh, I like that one. You should expound upon that.
Yes.
Because...
Well, a shiny object meaning that it grabs your attention and you start to compare yourself to everybody else.
Yeah.
You start to worry about it. That's, to me, a shiny object syndrome because now you're detracting from the action. You're starting to get your head kind of wrapped around the fact that I need to compare my success to somebody else's. And what's Mark always say? Success is comparison is a thief of happiness. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's one of the smartest things that he says over and over and over again. And it's so true.
We start to look at other people's success and say, well, man, look what he's doing. Look what they're doing, whatever it may be. And then we stop executing. And it's, listen, anybody who's succeeding is consistent on 2 things, mailing and marketing. There's no different. There's no other way around it.
Buy wholesale.
You're still mailing. You're just mailing in a different vein. That's a philosophical difference, Matt.
Yeah, but to your actual point, without me being a jerk, I still do this to no end. It's a problem, right? I compare myself to Handsome Rob. I compare myself to Best Friend Jen and Tyler, right? The Land Duo. I compare myself to a whole bunch of people, and it's just so counterproductive. It's ridiculous. Right. Everyone's journey is different. Everyone takes their own time. Some people, they're doing it full time. Me comparing myself to them is silly. Right? It's only going to end up with me feeling bad about what I haven't been able to accomplish yet. So, yeah, don't. As for someone who does this weekly, don't do it. I don't wish that upon you.
So this brings me back to this is the conversation I have with every single patient. Don't worry about
your old ladies.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who. Honestly, I love the little old ladies. I love them.
We know it's uncomfortable for the listeners.
But listen, if you have back pain, knee pain, if you're post-op, whatever, if you're frustrated with your progress, if you don't feel like you're getting anywhere, all you have to do is ask yourself, are you better now than you were a month ago? You're measuring yourself against your own standard, not anybody else, and keep it simple. If you're better now than you were a month ago, you're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
If the numbers say otherwise, if the pain that you're feeling says otherwise, if the time that you're spending on this says otherwise, then you need to readjust and do something different to feel better.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
It has to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it doesn't have to be, but it's a lot better when it is.
Yeah, well, I think it has to sing to you, right? Like you always say, Mike Zano.
Oh, I heard that.
No,
way home from the airport at 1 o'clock in the morning this morning was you on the podcast talking about does it sing to you?
Well, it's true. It's like there's a lot of business models out there. Does this one seem like you want to be involved in it? If so, okay. Do you know, like, and trust us? And if you love the model and you know, like, and trust us, then boom. Then you step in and you do it.
Yes.
Were you singing, Matt? What was that?
No, it was like, don't like and trust. Like,
that podcast is out. You listen to it. How'd I sound?
You were good, dude.
Talk amongst yourselves.
I flew from California. I got to Boston at 1 in the morning. You sounded fine. I almost drove off the road 9 times.
At 1 a.m. I sounded good.
Yeah, you were a champ. What do you want from me? But I do remember you talking about it singing to you, right? And I think that's a really good. Like, this business makes sense to me. I explain it to so many people. I explained it to my company's best sales guys over 2 days, sitting around by a fire this past week. And while they both agreed that it was a really good idea, it definitely did not sing to them. Right? They're like, why would I do all that work? It makes no sense.
Well, there's other things. There's a lot of real estate avenues out there, and
Sure.
they don't sing to me. What sings to me, what makes me feel, what resonates with me, and what I feel like this attraction to is the land investing. So, it's a very unique niche. It's a niche or niche. What have we decided what that is, by the way?
Yes, let me help you. It's never niche. It's a niche or a niche.
Who likes to say Nietzsche? I think Bob.
We're the only
No.
Nietzsche. It's no way it's Nietzsche.
Mark Podolsky says Nietzsche.
But yeah, but
it's like philosopher.
But he's being cute, right? It's Nietzsche. It like that's.
I don't know. I think that's his way of saying it.
It's like you have an itch, you add an end to it. Nietzsche.
No, he does not. He does not think he's saying a niche and saying Nietzsche. It's Nietzsche. It's that's a different thing. That's a niche, right? But it's a small. Yeah, it's Nietzsche.
Oh man,
that's different. We're talking about that in Phoenix. I'll tell you that right freaking now. I'm gonna tackle him when I see him, and we're gonna talk about that. All right, Casey has a question.
His first question is, "What's my favorite whiskey?" And this is the favorite. This is my favorite that I've ever had. I think. You guys had this?
No.
What is that? Blanton?
Blanton's the original single barrel bourbon whiskey.
Huh.
So I got this as a gift, and any whiskey that comes with a metal horse on the top of it, that's a good whiskey right there.
Yeah, that is legit. By the way, can we talk about how Scott Bosman looks, I don't know, 35 years younger without his beard?
Oh, my wife appreciates that too.
I couldn't figure out what it was, Matt, but he looks a lot younger tonight.
Yeah, I just noticed it. I'm like, God, what a handsome.
You nailed it on the head there, Matt.
Yeah. You guys are sweet.
Yeah.
I'm also a little leaner in the face. I've lost some weight, so I'm happy about it. Happy.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
I think I might have gotten it from you. I'm just an extra chin in here. Okay. That's cool.
So, Forbes, let's get to Casey Jewett's question, then we'll go back to Melissa's.
Yeah, so Casey is, how does one stay away from shiny object syndrome? I want to do what I want to. Okay. I am asked all the time why this. My friends are very successful in lots of other things, multifamily flips. Dear Casey Jewett, um, your friends can suck it. So that's my answer. If it sings to you, to Mike Zano's point, don't worry. Multifamily's great. It's a great way to go, right? There's a lot of great ways to go in real estate, but they don't do what this does, right? They go down when the market tanks. They do all these things. You have all of these problems, right? This is a low dollar investment in with a very, very high yield over time. Right? The beautiful part about this
Look at you using the word yield, which a year ago you said you loathed the word yield.
It's true.
I don't like the calculation. I'll argue head to toe.
You're a yield guy now. I love it.
Not a yield guy. In this case, it sounded super smart, though, right? Like I put on my glasses for yield. But this niche, this is something that is uniquely special because anybody can do it, but almost nobody does do it. Right? And they don't do it because, as you know, like it's not so easy. It's not that it's hard to conceptualize how to do it. It's that you need to grind to do it, to get it done. And there's this big hump that's in there. Like it takes a lot of work, right? We don't need to be ashamed of that. But once you get there, once you've automated it, right? Once you've delegated and you're not the one doing the work anymore, look at Bosman. He's lost weight. He's magnificent looking without his beard.
He's lost facial hair.
I lay hardwood floors during the week.
He drinks whiskey with horses on top. It's not something that everyone's going to do. I think a lot of people, if you look at like people who have tried this, who have quit, talk about that. Like, oh my God, like it happens, right? When you ask them, and I did before I came into the business, they all said the same thing. This is why I chose this niche, right? Does it work? Yes, it does. Did it work for you? Yes, it did. Did you make money? Yes, I did. Are you still doing it? No, I'm not. Why? And they go, it's kind of too much work. I'm going to go do multifamily. I'm going to go do this. And I'm like, perfect. The average guy thinks it's too much work, but it's still easy to do. I'm in. That's my niche. Whatever it is, don't care. ATMs, done. Camping equipment, I'm in. Raw land, doesn't matter what it is, because I know that the market will never get flooded because it's too much work. So whatever your friends do, don't worry about them. I hung out with a guy who sold 3 companies, probably made $10 million all week. And he's like, dude, your land business is way too much work. It's going to take way too long to get, your money back. And I'm like, that's fine. I'm patient. I'm okay.
Yeah.
In 3 years, I'm going to be Bosman.
Here's the other thing. Like, I don't know. To me, those things, they're so commonplace. Multifamily housing, right? Mm-hmm. Fix and flips. HGTV shows showing this, that, and everything else about real estate flipping. This model is just not very well known about, and I think a lot of us are a little bit afraid to even bring up the fact that we do it. But really, why aren't we talking about it more? Because listen, and I have a friend, her name is Katie. She owns multiple multifamily homes, but guess what? She's dealing with crap all the time. Like she's going to court. She's like getting up at 3 a.m. because of issues. She's having tenant issues and people smoking in her multifamily homes when they're not supposed to be smoking in there. And pets just causing an absolute mess. It's like headache after headache after headache.
So she has a job, is what you were talking about. Katie, she sounds, by the way, delightful. Katie has a job. Created one job for a multifamily job. Is that right? Does that sound correct?
Yeah, it's a job, right? It's a job for.
I'm out. One day I'd like to get, like, personally, one day I'd love to get into multifamily. When the land business is paying all of my bills and I've quit my job and I've got an extra 10 or 20 grand coming in a month, sure, I get into multifamily. Sounds lovely. Yeah, why not? But the thing that's going to get it done, passive, like true financial freedom, it's not like you can't do it in multifamily. It's just, I know that you can do it in land.
Yes.
Right?
And I would say to you, Casey, that in a couple years, after you're more established, you're going to have a conversation with your buddies, and you're going to be just like smirking because you don't have to deal with any of this stuff.
Yeah. I'm going to be like, hey, Seth, how's that Maserati payment? He's going to be like, it's fine. I'll be like, okay, that sucks, but I make $15,000 a month. I didn't get anything last month. You had to go sell something. That's the difference. He makes a lot of money. He's a great guy. He's awesome. But he has to go sell something.
Right.
For that Maserati. One day won't have to pay for my 2010 Chevy Impala.
Yes. That's a great vehicle. All right.
Yeah, it's pretty legit. This car's awesome. All right, what was the other question? Oh, the tech. Who was that, Melissa?
How do you get better at the tech? I don't know. I think, number one, don't get distracted by the tech. We've been talking a lot about that.
Hire a tech manager.
You can hire people to help you, right? You don't have to be, you don't have to know, I don't know. A lot of this stuff you can outsource, right? I don't need to know how to be a bookkeeper. I can outsource that. My bookkeeper can manage my Geek Pay for me. So I think it's part of finding the right team and finding.
I was going to let it go, and then you had to call it out by saying it twice.
I had to giggle.
I was going to let it pass.
I had to giggle because that was kind of funny. So finding the right team, right, and just finding that part of the business that you are good at and focus on that. But for the parts you're not good at, there are people out there that can help you with it.
Yeah. And just, like, Airtable, LG Pass, all the CRMs. Honestly, you get better by just doing it.
Mm-hmm.
They're not always the most well put together products. Why a lot of them are, super free, right? They don't do, like, Airtable doesn't do necessarily what I want it to do. But you find a way, and, if you have a question, you just Google it and you put it on video, and like somebody's made a YouTube video of whatever your problem is. I would bet a lot of money. So you just Google it and you watch some idiot who usually can't talk very well, and you're like, oh, okay. Oh, that's how you do it. So, who's that? What happened?
I was just listening.
I think he's delirious. I think he's deliriously tired. Tired.
I do too. I think he's exhausted and drank like 4 of those little espresso martinis. I think my boy's all jacked up.
Yeah.
Listen, you're just talking shiny object syndrome. I think we did a good job covering the left side of that equation. What is so funny, Boz Man?
I think we covered a lot of good topics, for sure. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
This is where you need that beard. Yeah.
Casey Jewett says $7,500 more or less. How do you spend it? So that means you have $7,500 right now. How do you spend it? Well,
I go to flight school.
Well, I think Casey's been through flight school, so I would say go to flight school for sure. But
yeah, I would too.
Where are we spending that? Honestly, mailing and property acquisition. That's where it's going. And you need to find an area that
right,
what?
Scott?
What?
You got to mail, because if you get the property at a great price, you're the rainmaker. You're always going to have the potential to make money. Somebody else can fund it. You got to mail.
Yeah. 2 points. 2 points awarded to Zeno. That's exactly what you got to do.
You got to mail. You got to be surgical in your county research, and you got to not subscribe to too many shiny objects that will detract you from the mailing.
Right.
No CRMs.
And those shiny objects could actually be another county.
Yes.
Right. You got to go deep in a county. You don't want to have 5 counties shallow. You want to have 1 county deep where you know why it sells, so that you know that land speaks to you, like Scott says. You got to go deep in a county.
Sings to you.
Sings to you. Yeah, I did that.
I've sung to you.
That makes me uncomfortable.
We might need another.
It's talking to you, Matt.
Do you know that Zeno? do you realize that I don't know the exact date, but right around this time 2 years ago
Oh God, make it in.
is when we started the nightcap.
This is our 2nd year anniversary.
It's got to be close, and I
Oh,
know
it is.
that on May 1st, 2018 was Nightcap the Musical 1. That's probably our most watched episode ever.
Really? Oh, so sad I missed it. I think I missed it.
Wow.
I hope.
Wow. Yeah. You.
I'm thinking of I have a new song. As soon as you said that, like that song "Let It Go" from Frozen, I think that is.
Yeah.
It's about talking to a seller. Let it go, let it go. It's a little hidden message.
So that was like a sort of like a Richard Cheese version of a Frozen song.
It really was.
I don't know who this cheese guy is, but
Oh, you love him. Oh, I'll send you a couple tracks from Richard Cheese. He's cheesy. Good.
all right. Well, what do you think, Bosman and Forbes?
I think we're going to do a super short episode because everyone's exhausted and
Super short. It's been an hour. We've covered a lot about shiny objects.
Yeah.
How dare you call it super short?
All right. What's your 2 minutes of advice on shiny objects, Dano? Go.
Focus on the fundamentals. Do your county research, which includes, it's really county research and due diligence blend like this. And if they're the two sides of the triangle, the peak of the triangle is mailing. Well, that's what it is, Scott. County research, due diligence, mailing. And mailing, I guess, could be the bottom. Could it be the whole triangle, Scott? Could you make it that way? Mailing, county research, due diligence, one triangle? Does that work?
Sure.
You don't like it? You seem like you love it or you don't like it.
I love it.
Picture the triangle now. Come on, if you will.
It's a triangle, Scott.
County research, due diligence, and mailing.
I love it.
It all works together.
It does. You
can't have one without the other.
And then you could bisect it with the other triangle in your business. Marketing, sales, and...
Don't bisect my triangle.
That's a wrap, kids.
That's a wrap. I'm gonna find Nightcap the Musical and rebroadcast it to the group as a live watch party.
And Matt needs to sing songs again.
I don't think so.
When he did the 12 Days of Christmas, probably the most watched episode ever.
Which had very little to do with me singing the 12 Land Geek Days of Christmas. For sure. For schnizzle. All right. So, Bosman, what's your 2 minutes of advice for shiny object syndrome?
No, I've already said it.
Okay.
Keep your eyes fundamentals, folks. It's all about fundamentals. Keep it simple. Do not let the shiny objects detract you from what is most important in this business. And you may just find that in 1, 2, 3 years you've replaced your income and more.
Well, I'd say the more you swing, Bosman, the more likely you're going to hit it out of the park. If you don't swing, you're not even going to get on base, right?
Unless you get walked.
And that's like an arbitrage.
Oh, man.
It's fun. All right.
All right, boys.
Arbitrage is, would you say, getting walked and getting hit by the ball, getting on first base might be a wholesale. And I don't know. I'm trying to put it together here. Nobody's buying into it. Let it go.
Nope. Yeah. Let it go. And we're back
Let
to
it go. Let it
Okay.
go.
Okay.
Let Zano go to bed. All right, you ready? Love you guys.
Anymore. Okay.
Thanks for the show.
Yeah, that was good.
That's it. We don't even have intros and outros anymore. It's so sad.
I agree. I blame Scott Bosman.
Wow, you guys, you're jerks. I'll talk to you later.
All right.